Shoftim. Justice shalt thou follow, that thou mayest live, and inherit the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Shoftim, the name of this week's Torah portion, means judges. This week, we are told the commandment of appointing judges. There are supposed to be local judges that rule over small cases, and higher courts which rule over bigger and more complex cases. The higher court eventually ended up in Jerusalem, the place that God chose for the higher court, as it says in Deuteronomy 17, verse 8. If there arise a matter too hard for thee in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, even matters of controversy within thy gates, then thou shalt arise and get thee up unto the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. The Torah gave the higher court permission to rule over homicides, capital offenses, and questions of Torah. Whenever someone was unsure about a law, they'd let the higher court decide for them. In Deuteronomy 17, verse 11, it says, "According to the law which they shall teach thee, and according to the judgment which they shall tell thee, thou shalt do. Thou shalt not turn aside from the sentence which they shall declare unto thee, to the right hand nor to the left." Many traditions and practices in the Oral Torah come from the rulings of the higher court. In Yeshua's time, there was a respected rabbi called the Prince in English, or Nasi in Hebrew. This rabbi presided over the Sanhedrin, the name of the higher court in those days. In the Messianic age, Yeshua will reside as the Prince over the higher court. He will be the final judge, it says in Isaiah 11, verse 3 and 4. "And his delight shall be in the fear of the Lord, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither decide after the hearing of his ears, but with the righteousness shall he judge the poor, and decide with equity for the meek of the land. And he shall smite the land with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked." It also says in Micah 4, verse 3, "And he shall judge between many peoples, and shall decide concerning mighty nations afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more." The first time Yeshua came, he didn't come as a judge, but when he returns, he will be the supreme judge. It says in 2 Corinthians 5, verse 10, "For we must appear before the Messiah's court of judgment, where everyone will receive the good or bad consequences of what he did while he was in the body." For some reason, conventional Christianity teaches that Yeshua crossed out the Torah. It teaches that Yeshua did away with the old laws of the Bible, and that he encouraged his followers to do whatever they pleased, so long as they believed in him. This is simply not true. If Yeshua is supposed to be the final judge, how can he judge righteously without the Torah, God's rules for being just? Yeshua himself taught that he did not abolish the Torah, just as it says in Matthew 5, verse 17 through 19, "Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven." The Midrash Rabbah has a passage that seems to be the source of what Yeshua said. The Torah states that a king is supposed to write a copy of the Torah for himself, so he'll follow the laws of the Torah. In Exodus Rabbah 6, verse 1, it says that as Solomon was writing his copy of the Torah, he changed a single letter, a yud, into an aleph. This was in the verse where it says, "He shall not multiply wives for himself, or else his heart will turn astray." Solomon changed the word yirbeh, which is spelled Yud Resh Beit He, and changed it into Arbe, which is spelled Aleph Resh Beit He. This small change changed the entire meaning of the verse, and now the verse read, "I shall multiply wives for himself, and his heart will turn not astray." The Midrash states that Solomon did this because he didn't think he would be led astray by multiple wives. He thought that God gave him a reason to have just one wife, but because Solomon thought that reason was invalid, he didn't have to keep the commandment. The Midrash says that the letter Yud from the word Yerbeh went up to God and made a complaint. He said, "Master of the universe, didn't you say that no letter shall ever be abolished from the Torah? Behold, Solomon has now arisen and abolished me. Who knows? Today he will abolish one letter, tomorrow he will abolish another, until he has abolished the whole Torah." Then God replied, "Solomon and 1,000 like him will pass away, but the smallest tittle will not be erased from you." We well know what happened to Solomon and his many wives. It is written in 1 Kings 11, verse 4, "For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father. Solomon thought he could change the Torah and still be faithful, but he was wrong." It says in Ecclesiastes 2, verse 12, "And I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly." The Midrash says that Solomon said, "Because I tried to be wiser than the Torah and persuaded myself that I knew the intention of the Torah, did this understanding and knowledge turn out to be madness and folly." People today often assume that a law or rule from the Torah does not apply to them because they know the reason for it. They believe that the law only applies in concept to other people, not they themselves. But this isn't true. Those who think they don't have to follow all the laws of the Torah are practicing lawlessness. It says in Matthew 7, verse 22 and 23, "On that day, many will say to me, 'Lord, Lord, didn't we prophesy in your name? Didn't we expel demons in your name? Didn't we perform many miracles in your name?' Then I will tell them to their faces, 'I never knew you. Get away from me, you workers of lawlessness.'"